I hate gift giving and receiving.
Receiving gifts is so weird. What do you say? Thank you?
This is Coffee Convos with Kale Lowry and Lindsie Chrisley.
I really want you to be in your feels, Kale.
That does not interest me whatsoever.
I feel very attacked by you.
A spirited discussion about motherhood, friendship, family, and life in the public eye.
I'm just not with the fakery anymore.
There's a fakery bakery around here.
Here's Kale and Lindsie.
I love that I get to see your face now, Lindsie.
You know, I thought about it this morning. First of all, welcome to Coffee Convos podcast. How are you?
Welcome. You know what? I'm going to give a quick mental health update. I was thinking about it in the car on the way to the office this morning. I just feel good. And I think it's because I'm getting ready every morning like this, especially now that we're doing stuff on camera. I have to get ready so that I'm ready for the day. I feel better. But I wouldn't be able to be here and have this mentality if it wasn't for the meds. So it all does go back to the Lexaproing. But I feel better. I got dressed. And yeah, I'm still wearing leggings, but I just threw a little makeup on, threw some dry shampoo in my hair, and I still feel put together. So I feel good. How do you feel?
Okay. Well, this morning did not start out exactly as I had planned. I was trying to be so prepared for the week that I think that that's what fucked me up.
Okay.
Last night, I had one Bloody Mary with one of my girlfriends and had potato soup. And it made my insides all warm. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go home. I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to do my skincare, put my hair on top of my head, get in the bed. And that was at 8:15. And I was like, I'm doing so good, so good. And I have an 8:30 Pilates class in the morning. I'm really, carpe diem, seize the day.
Carpe diem.
That's what's going to be happening. And I get a text from Kristen this morning that was like, yeah, you do in fact have Pilates at 8:30. And at this point it was 8:47 and I was still in the bed. But this is where I got fucked up. I lowered the volume of my alarm. So I am the type of person that needs one of those rolling alarms that hops off the side of the table and you have to chase it.
Yeah.
I'm her. I had my volume so low that I guess it just kept snoozing itself and kept going to the next 8 something minutes. And then I overslept. So,
oh shit.
Yeah. So then I didn't get to go to my Pilates class this morning. Luckily, Captain Kristen came to the rescue and she got me an evening Pilates class. But this is another thing that always messes me up. And other people will relate to this. You take your dog out super early because they're walking around on your bed. And then you go back to bed and then you doze off into a deep sleep because you realize, oh, I only have an hour left to sleep. And then that fucks you up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. Actually, this morning was fucked up for me too because Chris had the kids this weekend. And so he was dropping them off at school this morning. And then he texted me and he was like, Creed has this gagging thing where he if he's eating and he gags, he immediately throws up. There's no just gagging. It's immediate vomit.
Bless his heart.
He threw, I guess he was eating something and threw up all over himself. So he's like, I need you to meet me. I ran out of the house with shorts and my dunks on with no socks, no bra, grab my glasses, just show up looking all disheveled. So I totally understand the frizzle frazzle.
That's just the way that you want to meet your ex-baby daddy too. It's why do I have to look so frazzled? I always want to look the part, I'm like,
I did not want him to see me like that, but
this is everything you're missing, sir.
Everything. This is everything.
Every part of it. But back to being on camera, I was like, oh God, now that I have just really shit the bed, I have not done my daily devotional as I'm sitting here cussing. That's probably why. So I'm going to do all of that whenever I get off of this recording. I am representing Atlanta today. As always, it was Falcons last week, Hawks this week, might be Braves another time. Shout out to my Atlanta folk.
I love that you are ride or die Atlanta all the time.
All the things. I love Atlanta, but I hate it.
No, I claim Atlanta sometimes. I used to have Delaware with the little airplane emoji and then ATL because I was there so much with you. I fucking love Atlanta.
well, I feel like you love it if you don't live here. But then
Yes.
if it's like what you know, have you ever like gotten messages where people ask you, hey, I'm visiting Atlanta or I'm visiting, no, probably nobody visits Dover.
No. Never.
But like, have you ever gotten messages where someone's like, I'm visiting this place and it's like, it's where you live.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, tell me some fun things to do.
Well, the beaches are here for like the East Coast. I don't go to them, but people do go on vacation here. And so they'll be like, oh, we're going to Rehoboth. We're going to Dewey. Like, what's there to do? And I'm like, I have no fucking clue. Like, I don't know.
And like, I'm not a tourist. So like, I don't know. I'm just doing like a regular Atlanta girl shit.
Yeah. Like, I go to Target. Like, I don't know where the beach spots are. I don't know where the beach bars are.
So
like, I have
funny.
no idea.
I literally just go to Target. Wait, I saw this thing probably on Instagram or TikTok. I'm quite certain because that's the only places I look on the internet pretty much. But it says, may the tears you cried in 2022 water the seeds that you're planting in 2023. And I just want to know how you personally feel that your year has started.
I feel pretty good about it, honestly. I did my list of 300 things on my iPad that I'm...
Wait, what?
I did my list of 300 things on my iPad. So I've like claimed all the things. And then I went and got my hair done to start my hair health and growth journey this year. And my hairstylist and I were talking about, I don't know if you guys believe in this or if you believe in this, Lindsie. I know you do like devotionals and stuff, but we write our manifestations on paper and then you put a bowl of water outside under the full moon and put the manifestations list under the bowl of water. And then you get moon water and you're kind of like claiming these things in the universe. So I feel good about this year. I'm not going to let 2023 put me on my ass like 2022.
That's super witchy of you. And I don't know about it. It's kind of like the story that you told me about bleaching your asshole. You know, it's
Like
just like that witchy, like
bleaching your asshole is witchy.
Yeah, it's just like weird. Like I would never go outside and be like, this is going to bring me good energy if I open my asshole to the day. Like never. That would never be something that crossed my mind. Also, speaking of hair, I took my extensions out.
I think your hair looks great with and without extensions.
And I was talking to Kristen this weekend and I was like, do we like my hair with or without extensions? Because Todd Chrisley is very much like, definitely less is more. And he's told me that my whole life. He's like, less is more, you know, you come down with too short of coochie cutters on. And he's like, in this situation, more is better. But really, like I am in this phase and I went through this phase like a little bit last year. I don't know if you remember when I was like, I'm going to be like a 90s girl and I'm going to just do like 90s things. And that's going to be just like a fresh blowout every week. I don't know if people were doing that in the 90s, but like it was very Jennifer Aniston Friends vibes, you know, like
okay. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to just do a blowout every week and invest in like nice hair oils. And I'm going to take all my supplements. I'm going to take the gel off my nails. I'm just going to get a freshy little manicure every week. Skincare, less makeup. Then I don't know what happened. I got on some train that I was trying to pull a Kardashian, I think. And then I have reverted off of that into the new year. I was like, I can't do this hair anymore. It's like a lot of work and I just need to focus on, you know, like what God gave me. And it's this hair and it's not looking so great right now, but let's just like be patient with it.
It's so long though. Like I remember
we just need to be patient.
You had like a really nice blunt cut, didn't you?
Yeah, but now I'm out of the blunt cut phase now. I'm really like Jennifer Aniston 1990. I mean, I know I don't look like her right now, but like that's my goals for this year. And yeah, so less is definitely more. And I think that I am learning that as I get older.
Wait, so going back to your skincare comment.
Yep.
Last night I was on Instagram and one of my girlfriends she was posting, she had these like things under her eyes and I've used them before, like those little jelly under eye things or whatever. Right. And they have all different kinds. And she's talking about her skincare and she's saying that she's using snail mucin. Have you heard of this?
The fuck?
So I was like,
Is that like where they come?
just wait. So I was like, no fucking way. Like, I'm blown away at this point because I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I said, what the fuck is snail mucin? That was my literal DM to her. And she said, it's literally snail secretion. It's used in a lot of Korean skincare brands. And I wish it didn't work so damn well. The things we do to stay looking young. And I said, what? Send me a link right now. So she sent it to me. And she said she absolutely loves it. And she said she was so against it until she used her friends. And she said it helped like this, like almost instantly. I have Ulta points, so I'm going to buy it and I'll keep you posted. But she sent me links to 2 of them. And it's not super expensive, but I was like, I have never heard, I live under a fucking rock. Like, I have never heard of this.
Am I an idiot? It's like when snails are like going and they're like,
they leave their trail.
And they leave their trail. Is that like cum or is that skid marks?
What is that?
I don't know.
And we have 2 snails in Lux's fish tank. Could I just like let them crawl on me?
No, I don't think it's that kind. I don't know. Wait, didn't you like used to see snails like when you were growing up and you were told that if you put salt on them that they would like shrivel up and die away? I never saw
snails. Yes, I never saw snails growing up, but I did see slugs. And I don't know if
that's what it is. Slugs, not slugs. Snails.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I ever did it, but I did
I
see
like salted a slug before. I'm a hillbilly.
Maybe I did. And I'm just, I don't know. I'm sure I did, but I don't remember. But like, I remember my friends doing it. Not like all the time. I think it was like one time, but like,
I think that's
PETA's
sad
gonna come.
I did that.
No, PETA's going to come after us.
That's sad that I've ever done that, but I know that other people in this lifetime have also done that and like came from the sticks. And this was at my grandparents' house that literally lives like in the woods. And they would get those things all over. Like at nighttime when it would get dark and you started hearing the crickets go. Uh-huh. You could go out on their front porch and they would be crawling like on the, they call them like a storm door or whatever. They would be like crawling on the storm door on their porch and they would go get the salt out. And I was like, oh my God, like what is happening? We need to know if it is cum or if it is skid mark. Oh, or it could be discharge.
Yeah. And did you know that they procreate on their own?
Huh?
Snails, like they're asexual, so they can just like procreate on their own, like by themselves.
Who told you that?
I Googled it.
Oh, you want me to tell you something that Jackson is interested in getting?
Yes.
And he did not hear coffee combos, an axolotl.
Shut up.
And I was like, Kill wants one of those. And he was like, wait, we both want one of those.
Yes.
He was like, they're so cute. And I was like, how about let's try a stuffed animal first?
I actually saw something on Amazon. I'll send you a link for it and maybe you'll like that.
I'm like, what is wrong with you? This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp.
If you're thinking about giving therapy a try, we highly recommend. We talk about therapy at least once a week. I talk about it every day on my social media, wherever. And it's super convenient, flexible, affordable, and entirely online with BetterHelp. I hate waiting rooms. I don't want to see other people when I'm going to talk about my mental health. And I just don't have the flexibility to drive to every appointment. And so online therapy has been really great for me.
I absolutely love BetterHelp. I think this is such a great option for people who are looking to start their therapy journey. We talk about therapy all the time. It has been such a positive impact on my life. And when you're at your best, you can do great things. When you're feeling bogged down, overwhelmed, don't really know what to do, that's when BetterHelp can definitely be a benefit to you. So if you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is such a great option. It's convenient, flexible, affordable, entirely online. You're just going to fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. If you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/coffee to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/coffee. I wrote down all of the, like, I wouldn't say like bad things that happened, but just like unfortunate situations that I found myself in last year. Things that I definitely like cried over or made me sad or just put me like in a bad place. And I wrote down all of those things. And I'm hoping that, and also when I wrote down those things, I also wrote down like what lessons that I learned from those things. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping that the sadness from last year will not reoccur. The same sadness that I had from last year's situations will not reoccur in this year.
Well, don't say I hope or say they're not. Like
they're not. I'm manifesting that they're not.
Claim it that it, yeah, exactly. That it's already happened or it's already happening. And not that and don't say like in the future, just claim it as if it's already happening.
I also saw this one other thing that said this time last year, I would have never imagined everything would be how it is now. So much actually happens in 12 months. And like, I think that you don't think of a year as like a lot happens, but 12 months sometimes feels like a long time, but it's actually like a really short period of time. And when I was writing down like all of the things that transpired in just 12 months, it felt like a lifetime of things. Yeah. And I was like, wow, like I can't believe, and there was like some good, but then also like some very unfortunate things. But I was like, wow, that's crazy that much can happen in such a short period of time, which made me think I need to be very mindful about how I spend my time.
Yeah, for sure. Like intentional, present. I actually tweeted that last night. I don't know what I was doing, but I just had this like overwhelming feeling that even like, I'll read my tweet. I said, as hard as 2022 was for me, it flew by and I'm having anxiety about it. Does every year just go by faster and faster? Like it literally feels like, and I felt like it was going by. It wasn't one of those things where you look back and it flew by. I felt like even though I was so depressed and I couldn't function like I normally do, I felt like the whole year still was going by like right in front of me.
Yeah, it does feel like that.
It's weird.
It's so nuts. Wait, so before we get into all of the Bryan Kohberger Idaho 4 updates, I want to do basically TikTok o'clock because I feel like you have a lot of like TikTok stuff to go through.
TikTok o'clock. I love that. That's our new segment for our TikTok discussions.
TikTok
okay.
o'clock.
I saw this TikTok of a mom and she's a mom of boys. And so I thought that this was like a good place to discuss this. And she put as her, like the text on the TikTok, quote, raising boys who are obsessed with me so their future wife can't say they're going to her side for the holidays. And then a stitch response from another woman said that for her husband and her situation, she has no problem spending time with her husband's side of the family. But she said that if that's what he wants, then he is solely responsible for planning it and all the details, as well as letting her know in advance. And I thought that was fair. But I want to hear what other people have to say because the way that my family does it is boys or girls, they rotate. So my one cousin does our family 1 year, and then her husband's family the following year. And they kind of rotate it that way. It wasn't always like that, but I'm assuming that because everyone wants to see, their families, and her husband's actually an only child. So it's not like they have other family members. And for me, like, I know that when I'm kind of setting my kids up to only go to their dads, I guess, when they have kids, because they have such big families and that's where they go for the holidays now. But I feel like I'm okay with that. So I'm just wondering, like, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like if you and Will or anybody were, in a relationship, would you make him responsible for planning that and telling you in advance?
No.
You wouldn't?
I wouldn't trust Will to make any plans.
So would he just have to tell you, hey, I want to go to my family's this year or for this event? And you mean
Jackson?
Yeah.
No, Jackson's not making those plans. Like,
no. Okay. So like the mom said that her husband would be responsible if he wants to go to his family's, like he has to plan everything.
Oh.
So where like she'll take the kids, but he's responsible for planning anything on his side and she's responsible for planning anything on her side.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So actually Will and I have had conversations about this when we were married. No. When it comes to disputes, it was always you handle yours, I handle mine. When it comes to like actual plans, I just handled all of the plans because everyone in Will's family just are not like the best communicators. And that's not to be negative, but like they're not the best communicators or planners. And so I would just get with Will's mom. That way everybody was informed of what was going on. I spent a significant amount of my holidays with Will's family. when we were married. And now obviously we're not married anymore. So I just go to my family's, and then Jackson, we split holidays. But I do feel like when Jackson is older, I am so hopeful, and maybe this is like wishful thinking. I'm so hopeful that when he does have a family, that we can all do something together. And we are on like a good path, even though it doesn't involve extended family. Like we did something with Jackson together for Christmas this year. Will and I did. So I'm hopeful that's like a good setup for that, because that is one thing that really bothered me through the divorce process, because I knew how I felt as a kid, of knowing that I had to like be split one place and one place. And then it puts you in a position to have to choose. And it wasn't Jackson's fault. So I never want him to have to choose. So it's just better for us to suck it up and be like, you know what? And it's not even like Will and I don't even like being around each other either. That's what's so weird. It's like, it's not even abnormal.
Right. It feels okay. It feels fine.
Yeah. It feels normal. But would you do that?
Yeah. We have, well,
wait, this goes back to if the other person doesn't have a significant other.
This is true. This is very true. So when the other person has not had a significant other, we have done this. And it has gone well. But I think part of it also was because the lines were blurred a little bit. So kind of like along the lines of co-parenting on TikTok o'clock, this other TikTok that I saw was, it was Kim Kardashian talking about, co-parenting with Kanye and, not responding or reacting to every single thing that was said about her. And it took me a long time to get to this place. And now it's kind of me trying to teach via email my baby dads to do the same. I won't specify, but don't fucking email me about every single fucking thing that I'm saying. Just don't fucking read it. Don't listen to it, whatever. And she says that she does this because she has to keep on, like, she would be exhausted if she had to respond to every single thing that Kanye says about her parenting, her, whatever. And so let me play the TikTok. I muted it so I can just read the captions, which is really nice. She basically is saying if she's in a pity mood, she'll go back and be like, okay, she's got all the receipts if she needs them, which is what I started doing as well. And I know you've done it. Just like keeping them if she needs them, but just not putting the energy into responding to every single thing. And she said if she has to deflect every single negative thing about her, she says basically like the person that is supposed to be your protector, which would be Kanye in her situation, is going on and saying all these things, then what the fuck?
First of all, I don't feel like I really need to defend anything at this point. It's like I know who I am, so I'm not going to defend something that's like stupid. And you have to get to a point, and I think I've gotten here with co-parenting, that you have to decide, is this something that like truly affects my life? And if it doesn't, and it's just something petty, why am I wasting my time and my energy on that? I mean, I might send a petty text back and be like, hey, fucker, like, stop saying this, or stop doing this, or like, why is this conversation that's coming up? Like, just grow up, stop. Outside of that, I don't really feel the need to say anything anymore, because if we agreed on everything, we would still be married.
One of my kids' dads texted me, and we've been broken up for years. Last week, he was texting me, asking me, did I fuck all these people? Like, he would like named them.
Why does it matter?
And at this point, I didn't. These are just rumors, and I don't care about he said, she said. Delaware is full of people. There's a lot of great people here, but there's also a lot of people that just like to talk shit because they have nothing else to do, because there's nothing going on here. I don't care if this person's friend told you I fucked them. If I didn't, I didn't. And if I did, I did. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to defend myself or explain myself.
And why does it matter?
At first, I caught myself saying, no, yes, no. And I'm just like, wait a minute. This doesn't matter. This doesn't fucking matter. Like, I don't need to dispute every fucking thing that is said about me. I just don't need to do it. Let people think what they want to think.
Wait, so what was the relevance as to why
I don't know.
He needed to know this?
I have no idea. I think maybe he felt like he got played and he didn't expect that.
But if you're happy doing what you're doing now, then what was going on when you thought you were getting played doesn't matter, right?
Listen.
So you're either acknowledging by asking that, you're acknowledging by not acknowledging that you still care.
Well, and then it's like when I caught myself answering, like one of them I said no, and he just like then he's disputing it. Oh, yes, you did. I heard from so and so. Then don't ask.
Then don't ask. If you already have a decision made in your mind, why are you asking me?
Why are you talking to me?
You're telling me now.
Literally.
Like you're literally telling me what I'm doing.
Yeah.
If you can't maintain things that you are trying to do every single year for the sake of a positive co-parenting situation with your significant other for your child to see that, if it's not a maintainable thing, don't set yourself up for failure for the future. So if it's something that you can't do every year, regardless whether there's another person involved or not, then don't do it at all.
I agree with you 110%.
Because what that does is sets the kid up for failure.
That is so fucking true.
Because then they have an expectation that you no longer can meet. And I'm willing to do it every single year. Will and I've had a conversation of, we were together for 12 years. We were best friends for 12 years. We were married for 10, have a child, and he is the priority. Mm-hmm. Like he is the number one priority in his life. Right. He is the number one priority in my life. And any relationship would fall behind that. If anyone gets upset by that, I'm sorry, but like my kid comes first always. And I'm going to do what's in his best interest. If the person that you are with doesn't like that, then that's a them problem, not a you problem. And it doesn't get to become your kid's problem.
Right. Right. I agree with you. That is a really good point. And I wish that I would have, I'll be using that point in a future email, I'm sure.
You're like, actually right now, as I begin typing.
Right. KiwiCo. The kids love to do projects at home, and they don't feel like school projects when they're from KiwiCo. So KiwiCo knows a thing or two about delivering moments of discovery through fun, hands-on projects. And each month they deliver super cool science, technology, and art projects for kids. We stack up on these all the time for rainy days, for snow days, weekends. My kids absolutely love these. We've done the robot one. We've done the farm ones with the little felt pieces. There's several actually that we've done. And you can choose from 9 different subscription lines depending on the age of your children. So I have crates for all ages since I have so many children, but they have really easy to follow instructions and super kid-friendly materials. KiwiCo truly delivers needing everything to tinker with on these. And I love it because you do not have to go to any store to pick up any extra pieces, parts, or anything like that.
I absolutely love KiwiCo as well. And I also stack up on them. Kristen told me that she has never seen a child out of school as much as Jackson. So we always are looking for like extra things to do. And this is also really cool. If you have someone that ever sits with your child or grandparents that ever come over and they're just like looking for something to do together, this is really, really cool. We prefer the geography projects. Absolutely love those. And Jackson is very much into science, but you can find something that any of your children will love and you're going to love. And it does help cultivate your child's natural creativity and curiosity. And you're learning without a screen. That is one of my favorite parts. And it's going to keep them busy. It's going to keep them challenged. And another good part is that there's no legwork for you. So you can spend quality time tackling projects together and not collecting all of the things that you need to do the project. So make 2023 the year of discovery with KiwiCo. Get 50% off your first month on any crate line at kiwico.com/coffee. That's 50% off your first month at kiwico.com/coffee. Wait, okay, so I have to update you on Bryan Kohberger and the Idaho 4. There's a lot of updates.
Yeah, please. I'm relying on you to give me these updates because there's just so much information. And honestly, you did such a good job with the last time that I'm trying. If I see something, I send it to you, but I'm trying not to like look because you summarized it really well.
Okay, so I'm going to pick up from where we left off last week with all of the new updates. For those of you who did not listen to last week's episode and you are interested in following this, I would definitely encourage you to go back and listen so that you can follow along with all of the details. There's so many different things that have transpired. I thought there was like a lot that had transpired with the arrest, but then after the fact, there's just been so much more. I will say a lot of people have been wondering, and I also was wondering, why the police kept asking the public about the white Elantra. I believe that they had all the information that they needed, and they had so much more information than we would have ever even began to imagine. But I do think that it was a way to give Kohberger a false sense of security, and it would give him so much false sense of security that he would be able to drive this car across the country. We know that he did this. So their method, in my opinion, definitely worked. He was fooled. He thought he was in the clear. We see the traffic stops. One of the traffic stop body cam videos is being preserved for court, and it's still a part of the active criminal investigation. So that's not going to be released. The first one I felt like was telling enough. What was so interesting was just, I thought that I had such a investigative mind, but when I have listened and followed all of these updates, I realized that like, I don't think deep enough, because they were so orchestrated that they orchestrated these traffic stops for following too closely so that they could get body cam footage of his hands.
Are you serious?
Yes. And like, when I'm thinking of all of this stuff, I'm just like, wow, like that is, it's almost like, I'll relate this to watching Shark Tank, and you're like, oh, I thought of that like
a year
12
ago?
months ago or something. And it's like, okay, but why didn't you do anything about it? Like, this is just like something that I would never be like, oh, wow, we can like orchestrate these traffic stops and then get him pulled over. And then naturally there's the body cam. So then we're going to get the footage that we need to be able to zoom in and like look at his hands.
Yeah. So wait, is that confirmed, or that's what you're saying?
No, it is.
Okay.
Another thing, as I was talking to Kristen, because we're both so invested in this case, a lot of people I've seen on social media, and myself and Kristen, wonder why the families of the victims have counsel when it's the state versus Kohberger. And so naturally, I'm like, I'm going to contact my counsel and find out why this would be the case. And I'm quoting what my attorney said. He said, there's lots of reasons. This is a very high profile case. They might want someone to be a buffer between them and the media. Also, there may be occasions where a case isn't great and the prosecutor might have to give a low offer. When that happens, victims usually get upset. And that way all the offers are usually relayed to counsel for the family. You also have to consider grief being an aspect as well. I also asked my attorney if attorneys would take this case pro bono for these families. And he said some may, and some of them may have attorneys for civil cases against universities, and they may just be shadowing the criminal case for when they do file their civil case. So I thought that was very interesting as well.
Wow. Okay. So that, I mean, that he has really good points. That is very interesting. I definitely haven't heard anything like that.
So we had left off where the arrest had been made, and he was in Monroe County, Pennsylvania. His stay in Pennsylvania, and the source is News Nation, where I got this information, said that he had a vegan diet, which a lot of people were very upset that he was able to choose what he was eating while in jail for, I believe it was 5 days. But he was issued a vegan diet, which included peanut butter and jelly, rice, applesauce. Guards and staff say that he was very creepy. He was asked why he did it and said he didn't do anything. He was also asked why he went to Idaho, and his response was the shopping is better in Idaho. It was said that there was no praying, no crying, no reading, no pen, no paper. He was quiet, said to be a model inmate. And it was also reported that a fellow inmate was said to have assaulted him. And the quote was, "F you, I'm going to kill you." He was issued no blanket and no sheets. And the reason for that was he was in that suicide gown. He was transferred to from Monroe County, Pennsylvania, to Idaho at 6 a.m. on January 4th, officially booked in Latah County. Some have mentioned that it was via a private plane. It's very possible that it was via Con Air, which is an agency that the federal government uses to transport prisoners. This is managed by the United States Marshal Service. During the transport, we do know that there was a stop in Illinois, and I saw all of the photos and stuff of him getting like on and off the plane. And it just seemed, knowing what he has been accused of doing, it almost like, with the media covering it so much, it almost just like seems like so much glory. The fact that
I was going to say that, like, that's the vibe I get, is that he's loving the celebrity essentially that is coming with the attention that he's getting from this.
Like when you see the plane behind him and he's being escorted, you know, on and off. And I'm like, okay, well, I understand that this is high profile and they're trying to get him back, you know, to Idaho for him to, you know, be served these warrants and to get him booked. And like time wise, you know, you got to take that into consideration. But also I'm just like, why is he any different than anyone else? Like he's getting all of these, you know, perk services. I will say that because it is so high profile that definitely has something to do with it. I will say also that looking at his face and some of the photos that I have seen, he's very stoic, like almost like there's emotion there, like behind his eyes, but like no emotion also.
I need to Google, like I haven't seen
like
any of the photos.
If you saw a photo of him, you're just going to be like, does he, it almost like gives you a sense of, does he think that he is better and smarter than everyone else? And that's why he just looks so aloof? Or is it because he is scared shitless and he doesn't want people to know that he's scared shitless? So he just has this kind of like blank stare.
You do feel like he has emotion behind his eyes?
I do. I believe that he probably, and it could be because of the other information that I know.
Because what I'm seeing on Google right now, I literally just Googled Kohberger and then I went to images. Just at first glance, I'm not seeing any type of, and I don't like the little smirk when he's talking to his attorney. There's like a picture of him in an orange jumpsuit.
Yeah, I hate that.
I don't like that. And then there's also one that compares him and Ted Bundy side by side. And that is trippy.
Okay, so the defense does know that the death penalty is on the table. So I know that the things that they're going to be looking for, it's going to be vast. And I feel like they're definitely going to try to undermine the prosecution with the amount of things that have already come. I do believe that in the arrest affidavit, and I want to go through like all of that, I do believe that they're going to try to challenge a lot of what is in there. And I do also believe it had been said when you go through the arrest affidavit, a lot of sites like took it off, and I was able to go through all 19 pages before it was taken off. But there was one page that was completely blank, and I saw various different rumors that were talking about that it was just like by accident and that it wasn't information, but I don't really believe that. I believe that it could be more information, but also in that affidavit, there is enough information for the probable cause, but I know that there's like so much more information that we don't know. With Idaho being a death penalty state, some things that they're going to be looking at are going to be like what kind of touch DNA was found. Is the genealogy testing valid? According to one expert, genealogy, while often used to solve cold case files such as the Golden State Killer, has never been used in real time in an ongoing investigation to lead police to a suspect. So I do believe that they will probably try to challenge this. I believe they'll try to challenge why law enforcement said that it was a 2015 white Elantra, and them trying to get information from the public about it. I do fully believe that that was all kind of like a hoax to throw Kohberger off. They're going to be questioning things like what was his connection to the victims. He does have a defense attorney. She is a public defender. Mm-hmm. Her name is Ann Taylor, and she is known for overturning a murder conviction after exposing a lying Idaho cop who gave false statement. She has already sent in a team of investigators to the Idaho 4's home for the crime scene reconstruction.
Time out. So wait, if she's a public defender, he's not paying her, correct?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay, so I just have a question there. Why, if she's not getting paid by him, I know she's getting paid by essentially like the state, right? Like the government pays a public defender?
Yeah. But she's there to protect his constitutional rights. And it is very clear to me that.
Like, is that all she's doing? Or do you think she's really going to try to get him acquitted?
Well, just based off of her history, I believe there's very much a chance there. And the fact that she already sent in the team of investigators to the house and stopped the cleanup. I'm very uneasy about it. Idaho has a law called Idaho Law of Evidence, where any defendant has a right to their own investigation, own defense team to the crime scene. This is where the reasonable doubt is definitely going to come into play. I believe that if she has done it before, she can do it again. And I'm very, very worried about that. You had some questions about the traffic stops. During those stops, he was pulled over for following too closely. It was said in the traffic stops that they were coming from Washington State University, and that he worked there. They also referenced a SWAT team incident that occurred at Washington State regarding a man threatening his roommate. Immediately, I found that odd, because when you're pulled over for a traffic violation, no matter what it may be, why are we talking about a SWAT team incident that occurred at Washington State University when we're not at Washington State University? We are on the side of the road. Why would that be important in this situation? I just find that it's odd that he references this. Why would this would be important information? I believe that this was like a nervous thing, that he was nervous and he kind of told on himself when he started discussing this. It was confirmed by the FBI that the FBI directed the Indiana police to pull over Kohberger. He was pulled over twice. They were seeking video images of his hands via body cam. When he gets back to Idaho, there was no bail set. We already knew that had already been said, that there was going to be no bail set in the state of Pennsylvania and also Idaho. Victims' families were in the front row and crying when the names were read. There was a status hearing that was set and will be on January the 12th. During this status hearing, the lawyers will discuss when to schedule the preliminary hearing. For those of you who don't know what a preliminary hearing is, it is a hearing where both sides start to question witnesses. Kohberger will discuss his possible defense and will enter his official plea. Kaylee Goncalves' parents say that they do support the death penalty for the accused killer. And I quote, her dad says, if you want to play God's role, you're going to have to go to answer to him.
All right. So if you've been stewing about a health problem you have, you almost resort to texting your group chat to get your friends' opinions. I have definitely been guilty of texting in our group chat with the kitty gang, but I promise that you're very unlikely to find actual quality medical advice in your group chat. So if you want to find a real doctor, thousands of medical professionals are on ZocDoc and they're there to help you. So they listen like a friend and you get expert care that you need. Go to ZocDoc.
I absolutely love ZocDoc so much. I am a type of person that will go online and try to Google symptoms or try to look on TikTok to see what I can find. And worst idea ever, whoever invented ZocDoc is absolutely a genius. I love that they have ability to find the best doctors ever. I talked about one time that I had an eye problem going on and I was able to just literally go to ZocDoc and it was so super easy. I know it's the worst when you're not feeling your best. You're just trying to hold it all together. Finding great care should not take up all of your energy, and they have completely eliminated this. ZocDoc comes in when you can use their free app, and millions of users are relying on this app. You can find the right doctor that meets your needs, fits your schedule, book an appointment with a couple taps in their app, and then you're just going to start feeling better, faster with ZocDoc. There are no alarms, no surprises, thousands of patient-reviewed doctors and specialists. You can browse doctor profiles, upload and verify your insurance information, and get the care you need. Go to ZocDoc.com/convos and download the ZocDoc app for free, and then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc.com/convos, ZocDoc.com/convos. Law enforcement sources say that Kohberger did clean his car inside and out, not missing an inch, which literally terrifies me.
I mean, that's circumstantial, but it's still something. And I feel like you're not doing that unless there's guilt.
The fact that that they know that he cleaned his car inside and out, what is going to be his alibi? Like, I mean, what's going to be his reasoning why that he needed to clean his car inside and out? Like,
especially if it was fairly new.
Him speaking and starting to answer some of these questions will be very, very interesting to me. It was also said that he was seen wearing surgical gloves multiple times while he was being surveilled for days. And here's the thing. If he suited up over his clothing, this is just a hypothetical. If he suited up over his clothing on the night that he committed these murders, he could have gotten to his car. He could have taken everything off and put it into a bag before he got back in his car. We do know that he went somewhere for an hour after the murders before returning home. So could he have possibly suited up, taken everything off before he got into the car, put it into a bag, possibly burned the clothes, gloves, shoes, or he could have possibly buried them somewhere? Like, we don't know. We don't know what he did during that time. I do also want to say that it had been assumed that both of the other roommates who were not killed were sleeping on the first floor. Since reading the arrest affidavit, I learned that Dylan was actually sleeping on the second floor across from the kitchen. Also over the weekend, if you've been following this, you're following on TikTok, investigators go back to the crime scene in Moscow and are seen loading up mattresses in the back of several pickup trucks. I was very upset by this, mainly because why does the public need to see like what they covered it with? You could still see blood through it. Why does the public need to see that? Because this case is so heavily followed, you know, that's what's going to be the photo that's going to be all over everything. And like, why should the families have to be subjected to these things?
I agree with you. That's probably another reason that they should have attorneys, because they don't need any more emotional turmoil. They don't need to think about these things. They don't need to see the blood on the mattresses. They don't need to. I want to say something about the roommates that were surviving. When I was scrolling on TikTok, I did see, it was like a recording of the news. And one of the news anchors was saying how she's absolutely not buying the fight or flight situation with the surviving roommates, because if she allegedly did see Kohberger or whoever it was leaving the house, why did it take her 8 hours if she in fact did see him or them? Fight or flight doesn't necessarily last that long. She was kind of saying how she just isn't buying this I'm scared, doesn't know what to do situation.
I think we're going to definitely hear more about this. And I think that there is a ton more information that we just don't know. And I think it's easy to probably jump to those conclusions. I'm not saying what you're saying isn't valid, but I think it's easy for us to jump to those conclusions, just like we jumped to other conclusions before we knew that law enforcement had all of this information.
Right.
I think we will definitely hear more, and there will be more explanation as to why things played out the way that they did.
Right.
The house where the murders took place will remain a crime scene at least until February 1st, according to an order from the judge. Court filings show that the defense asked for the scene to be preserved, and the judge agreed. The defense is definitely already strategizing their case and will certainly try to plant reasonable doubt wherever they can. I think they're going to ask for proof that Kohberger owned this type of knife that was found. I'm about to go through in just a second all of the findings in the arrest affidavit. I believe that they will try to challenge, was the knife stolen from him? Was he at the house possibly hanging out prior to November the 13th and accidentally left what they found? Could he have possibly sold it to someone? Like I said, I do believe that there were a lot of things that were eradicated and not even included in the affidavit. It's possible that law enforcement didn't want those things to be made public right now. And truly the affidavit only needs to be enough that it's giving the public enough information to show probable cause for the arrest. Court records do show that Ann Taylor asked the judge for a gag order and halted the crime scene cleanup. She also invoked his Fifth Amendment rights hours after the raid in Pennsylvania. Over the weekend, I did see things surfacing about private investigators that were seen at the King Road residence with the local county plates. And an order states that it will be up to the judge to decide what is going to be televised within this trial. Steve Goncalves has spoken out about Kohberger's parents, and I just feel like truly like a class act, because I think that we can't say what we would do during a situation that we haven't found ourselves in, but I don't believe that I would. I think I would be so angered. I just don't know. But his quote was, "I have no ill will towards you. You have a baby. You have a family. You have these kids. You did your best." His wife shares the same job responsibilities as my wife. It's really weird. Most people don't know that, but my wife teaches at a school. So does she. They actually have the same certificate of learning. I could see them as a family that unfortunately had a child that made some poor decisions, very poor decisions. Maybe they've seen some red flags and probably should have brought it up, but I don't know that. So I have no ill will for them. I really feel bad for them. I really do. But if one of my children put me in that situation, I would do like what they did. I would love them, but I would be very sorrowful. And I don't know how I would deal with that. That's a different kind of pain than what I'm dealing with today.
I mean, I'm kind of speechless, because that takes a really... That speaks volumes about who he is and the type of people that they are. And I'm going to go ahead and assume that his daughter was probably had some of those qualities as well. And I think that that makes a really good point. You can't really blame the family, and so that really, like I said, it speaks volumes about the type of person he is.
Right quick before I get into the arrest affidavit, because I'm just going to list the things that were in there. There has been speculation that Kohberger told his attorney that he knows the killer's identity and it's not him, which would bring us back to the statement that he made when he was apprehended. Was anyone else arrested? In my opinion, I think he's just playing games. Anyone else who is also very much following this with the Papa Roger Facebook, some statements that were made through that Facebook account into groups says 1 knife and 4 people. The killer took a big risk. This knife could have easily broken off or become ineffective after 1 or 2 murders. Are we sure there's only 1 knife involved? Another statement says Of the evidence released, the murder weapon has been consistent with a large fixed blade knife. This leads me to believe that they found the sheath. The evidence was released prior to autopsies. I am convinced that this was Kohberger posting these things on Facebook.
Okay, that's terrifying if that was him. And I hope that they can look into IP addresses or something regarding that. My other thought is, or my other question to you is, do you think that he acted alone? I know that you say in here that you think that he's playing games when he asks, has anyone else been arrested? But it does feel like there's a big risk there. And it doesn't feel like how it was set up or what we know could have been accomplished by one person. So do you think that there were other people involved?
So I didn't know how quickly stabbing someone could kill them. But after watching a couple of doctors on TikTok talking about if he was versed in how to do this prior to going in, literally could have taken him 30 seconds to kill each person. And we do know that the murder of Kaylee was quick because her dad, Steve, had released this. And the information that he got was allegedly from the coroner saying that her lungs and liver were both punctured, and that hers were more like gouges and tears, which indicates that she bled out really quick and it was a quick death. It was said to be more severe than the other victims. I've heard various different theories on who was the target. With her wounds being more severe than others, it could indicate that she was the intended target, or simply that she was the first victim. In the arrest affidavit, we hear about a tan leather knife sheath that was found laying on the bed next to Maddie Mogen. It had Kabar USMC stamped on it. A knife sheath is a carrier of what a knife goes into, for those of you who don't know. Single source of male DNA left on the button snap of the knife sheath. Around 4 a.m., one of the roommates heard Kaylee say, "There is someone here." The roommate then hears a male voice say, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." The roommate says she opened the door because she heard crying, saw a figure dressed in black wearing a mask, then exited back the sliding glass door. When she says that she opened the door, it could have been a tiny, this is my thoughts. When she says that she opened the door, it could have been a tiny crack, just enough to see. If you're scared of something, it's likely that you wouldn't just fully open the door all the way. She could have very much been frozen. And it's likely that that could have saved her life because he possibly didn't even know that she was there if he had this tunnel vision, and was just focused on getting out of the house. And that could explain why he would have just walked right past the door. She did say that she saw his eyebrows and identified his height, build, and in my opinion, in order for her to do that, she would have had to have a pretty good range of vision, which would indicate that he would have been pretty close. Based off of the evidence, the crime was committed between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. There was a shoe print that was matching of a van sole that was found just outside of the roommate's bedroom, consistent with the statement of the suspect's path of travel. The white Elantra was seen circling the house about 4 times, beginning around 3:29 a.m. and seen leaving the home at a high rate of speed around 4:20 a.m. The white Elantra was caught on camera leaving Washington State University campus around 2:44 a.m. and then back to the campus around 5:27 a.m. This information was found through a query into WSU students' registered vehicles traced back to Bryan Kohberger. The affidavit states 3 different types of injuries: injuries caused by an edged weapon, injury caused by sharp force, and injuries caused by stab wounds. This could imply 2 different types of knives. So my thoughts are maybe he did act alone, but he had multiple weapons. Investigators found that Kohberger turned his phone off the night of the murders at 2:47 a.m. not to ping any cell towers, and then turned it back on at 4:48 a.m. Trash obtained outside of the Kohberger family residence was sent for testing in comparison to the blood found on the knife sheath from the crime scene. Results came back to a match of that of Bryan Kohberger, DNA identified as a male, not being excluded as the biological father of the suspect profile.
Coffee Combos Podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Most of you listening right now are probably multitasking. Yep, so while you're listening to us talk, you're probably also driving, cleaning, exercising, or maybe even grocery shopping. But if you're not in some kind of moving vehicle, there's something else you could be doing right now. getting an auto quote from Progressive Insurance. It's easy and you could save money by doing it right from your phone. Drivers who save by switching to Progressive save nearly $700 on average, and auto customers qualify for an average of 7 discounts. Discounts for having multiple vehicles on your policy, being a homeowner, and more.
So just like your favorite podcast, Progressive will be with you 24/7, 365 days a year, so you're protected no matter what. Multitask right now. Quote your car insurance at progressive.com to join the over 29 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates national average 12-month savings of $698 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2021 and May 2022. Potential savings will vary. Discounts not available in all states and situations.
I am Lola Blanc.
And I'm Megan Elizabeth.
And we're the hosts of Trust Me, the podcast about cults, extreme belief, and the abuse of power.
Now on Podcast 1.
We're real-life cult survivors.
And we're here to tell you anyone can join a cult.
If you've ever dived headfirst into a new self-help program,
or believed wholeheartedly in a spiritual practice,
or even just trusted someone with your life,
guess what? You're just as susceptible as everyone else.
No one is safe, especially not Megan.
I'm the most susceptible.
We want to debunk the myth that people who join cults are uneducated or naive or broken, because anyone can be manipulated by a narcissist or feel good in a new group they've joined.
And we should know we both have been.
Join us every week as we explore the world of extreme belief,
talk to survivors and experts,
and share our own experiences with cults and the abuse of power.
Don't be fooled. You might be next.
Get new episodes of Trust Me every Wednesday on Podcast 1, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere you get your podcasts.
I am definitely hoping that the DNA that's found on the knife sheath was solid. We do have to remember that if it was just a fingerprint, his defense could say that someone stole the knife. If there was blood or sweat, they could be able to tell roughly how long that it was there. And just for y'all's information, trash is considered abandoned property, so you do not need a warrant for that. And the sample that was found at the Kohberger family residence was the dad's DNA. I believe that it was a 99.999 something percent match. This is all evidence that led to the arrest. It does not include what they have found inside the family's residence, the White Elantra, and the campus apartments since then. So there could be much more to come. The roommate's statements were very chilling, that he wore a mask covering his mouth and nose so he wouldn't leave spit or sweat at the crime scene, and to obviously hide his face. She states that the male walked past her as she stood frozen in a shock phase. We're all questioning why she didn't call 911. It has been said that she didn't believe her eyes and that she thought that she was seeing things. I also think that it is very terrifying that Kohberger's cell phone pinged back at the King Road residence from 9:12 to 9:21 a.m. the next morning on November 13th. Here are my thoughts on this.
He was like waiting around to see what was going to happen.
No, he went back to his apartment because he turned his phone back on.
Right.
So it pinged back, where he was on the
King
campus.
Road. King
Road
where...
residence was where the girls lived. Here's my thoughts on that, of him going back to the crime scene. Did he realize that the knife sheath was left behind after he kind of like the adrenaline, maybe like slowed down? Did he realize that that was left behind and he wanted to go back to see if the coast was clear for him to be able to re-enter the home, get the knife sheath? Or was he simply just revisiting the scene of the crime to see what activity was going on?
That's my immediate thought, is that he went back to kind of just like wait around and see what was going to happen.
If he did go back to get the knife sheath, I believe that he quickly realized that it was already daylight. There could have been other people outside. It would have been super risky. This could also mean that he did not know that there were other roommates. Who knows really what he was thinking? A little bit of other information that I just gathered that I felt like was interesting. Childhood friends described him as quiet, smart, and awkward, especially towards women. After the murders, it had been said that Kohberger was showing up late to class, grading got a lot easier. He was said to be a very hard grader, and it got easier during this time. And he seemed to be perpetually exhausted. He was what?
A professor?
No. He was a teaching assistant, a PhD teaching assistant or something like that. It was believed that he was totally obsessed in the criminal justice world. He wanted to know anything and everything that there was to know about it. And he had tons of interest in serial killers. He's been compared to Ted Bundy, who was known for having a brilliant mind, being very smart. Kohberger, I believe, leaned into his intelligence to give himself some feeling of self-worth. However, I don't believe that he is as smart as he believes that he was.
No, because, I mean, he wouldn't have gotten caught that quickly if he was as smart as he thought he fucking was. So that's infuriating.
And
like that sense of grandiosity.
Well, the last thing I'm going to tell you will be in reference to that. BTK has come up. And the link there is Kohberger's professor in Pennsylvania wrote a book on BTK and interviewed him extensively. Was said to have an intimate relationship with him in the sense that she spoke on the phone with BTK, in-person interviews, and also wrote his autobiography. I saw an interview of BTK's daughter, and she is wondering if, Kohberger potentially had this fascination with her dad. Also found other information about Amanda Kohberger starring in a movie titled 2 Days Back. This was in 2011. And the movie was about students who were viciously stabbed to death with knives and other weapons. In this movie, the murderer befriends a group of students and then begins the massacre. Also found other information about it being said that Dylan had posted on her Visco account at 3:33 a.m. And inside sources say that her boyfriend's dad got a lawyer and said that they will not be providing DNA. She has been said to be a known drug user and tested positive for drug use that morning.
What kind of drugs?
Don't know that information. Sources also say that there's a connection with Kohberger and Kaylee, and that she met him at a bar. There is much speculation that there could have been a hookup, and then she ghosted him, or simply she could have given him his phone number, or given him her phone number and then ghosted him that way. But there were 27 messages allegedly sent in a short period of time. That could possibly be motive. We just don't know. This is all speculation, and could have pushed him over the edge. Everything about this case, as we go through and hear more and more, was executed sloppily, which indicates that it is the first time that he has done this. Kaylee and Xana both showed defense wounds. Xana could have been the target because she was the only one not found on the bed, and could have been his server back in August at a place called the Mad Greek. We just don't know. All of this is speculation, and until someone starts talking, until more is released, we won't know. I do think that there's going to be a ton of information coming in the coming months. And I believe this will all be done. Trial will happen. In my opinion, I believe it will be within the next 6 months. And it has been said, had he not gotten caught, it's likely that he would have developed another target and done it again.
Stalker. He needs to go on the show. No, we don't need to give him any more press, but that's some serious stalking that had to have occurred, because sources.
I'm unwell.
No, I'm unwell. I didn't know that there was, allegations that he hooked up with Kaylee. I mean, that does make sense if she was in fact the target, and with him being weird. I'm curious to see how more of this unfolds this week. And the preliminary trial is the day that this episode airs. So hopefully we can follow that and see how the rest of it goes. I'm going to switch gears a little bit really quick because Kristen says that we need to read the foul plays.
Oh, shit.
Okay, we're going to switch gears a little.
Do you ever feel like our entire episode is a foul play?
Yes, I would say a good half of our episodes are entirely a foul play.
Same.
Okay, just listen to the icy hot story and have my own. I was a freshman in college and was was I hope she means home, like HOME. I was a freshman in college and was home for the holidays. I have a tilted back uterus, and so it makes me super constipated after my period. After a period from hell, I thought I had hemorrhoids and was telling my mom about it. My family is very open about health issues as my dad and I both have chronic illnesses. She told me that there was hemorrhoid cream in the bathroom drawer and I could use. After a shower, I went to the bathroom and opened the door and grabbed a tube of cream and put some on my finger to apply it. After about 10 seconds, I had the worst burning and knew immediately it had to have been icy hot. I looked at the bottle and started to freak out. I ended up using several baby wipes to get what I could put and stuck one in between my ass cheeks because it helped with the pain. My older sister and I shared a room, so I went and laid down and told her my horrible mistake. She proceeded to get up and go tell my parents. We had a good laugh, but it was the worst pain ever. Still unsure why they would keep identical tubes in the same drawer, as it seems like a mistake anyone could make. Yikes. Okay.
First of all,
horrible.
Like, who wants, if your asshole's already hurting because you can't shit, and then you rub icy hot on it and then it's like burning from the inside out, like that's a definite no for me, dog. Secondly, this is why I am so specific about looking at stuff before you use it. Like, I am definitely the type of person that goes into my bathroom, and even though I know what my containers of stuff look like, I will still read it. Like my under eye cream, whatever. Like I am a weirdo about that. Only because one time I went into, just like your little medicine thing that like you keep all your stuff. And I had poison ivy cream that was like in there, and I used it thinking that it was like that cream Benadryl.
Yeah.
Like, and it was something
like the
else.
Spray or the cream. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm very, very weird about that. Also, I do have like a little story about one time when I was in college. I had my windows tinted, and someone left hemorrhoid cream that tinted my windows in my car.
No.
And of course I was like, well, what the fuck is this? And like, why do you have hemorrhoid cream and all of this stuff? And like got into this fight with this man, not like a fist fight or anything, but I just got in this argument with this man over the phone about like why he would have felt it was appropriate to leave his fucking hemorrhoid cream in my console.
That's actually really funny. But I also have to read the tubes that I have. I actually posted a picture on my Instagram a while back of a lot of my my products are roughly the same color blue, or the products that I was using at the time were roughly the same color. And I took a picture of it and I posted, and I was like, why is this? And they said that like people, for like the products that I had in the picture would associate that color with like self-care. And so, I use Modere toothpaste, and it's like that, like
Me too.
Bluish color. But I also use Tula skincare, and I had the face wash that was the same color, and they're the same shape. The tube is the same shape. And I picked up the face wash thinking that it was my Modere toothpaste, and it wasn't. And thankfully I read it, because I almost put it on my on my toothbrush. But yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Like, you have to be careful, and I don't set things that look alike next to each other, because you will get fucked.
That's so funny.
Last foul play says, hi guys, I have a foul play for you. My mom's friend went to Tijuana to get a mommy makeover. I am in no way saying that there aren't some good places out there to get surgery, but definitely be careful going out of the country for plastic surgery. During her recovery there, literally every single spot an incision was made became horribly infected, and it was so bad her nipples ended up rotting off. She had to stay in the hospital in Mexico for a month to get the infection under control. She is finally back in the U.S. with a snatched body and is now one nipple short. Thought y'all would enjoy this story. Love your podcast, and you ladies. Wishing you an amazing 2023. Actually have a story about this as well.
Do you have a missing nipple?
No, I can show you mine. I have both of them. I have both my nipples, but so two things in regards to this. One, my old manager, like years ago, this happened to her in the United States. This can happen in the United States. This has nothing to do with it. I mean, it maybe has something to do with it being in Mexico. But when you do a lift, like a breast lift, they're almost fully taking your nipple off. And so every single time you do this, you can lose sensation, or you risk the chance of your nipple not getting the blood flow that it needs, like the blood supply. And so when I last year went and got a what is it called? A consultation with a plastic surgeon for a breast lift, he also said the same thing, because if the more you do it, the more you're risking, no blood supply to your nipple. And so be careful, ladies out there, because this is not just in Mexico. This is anytime you do something like that. And then also I have another friend who went to Mexico and she came home and almost died of sepsis, I believe it was, because she got a really bad blood infection. Literally, if she did not go to the ER when she did, she would have died like within an hour.
That makes me terrified to even think about a surgery. I would be sad if I lost a nipple and stuff.
I use a lot of nipple play during my sex life. That is very important. Yeah, that's very important to me. So I would be devastated if I lost sensation in my nipples, let alone having them rot off.
What if you only had one to play with? That would be a lot. That would be a lot of pressure on her.
That would be very, very, that wouldn't be good. That would not be good. Okay.
Well, you guys go and get your nipples played with. I'm going to go and try to do my devotion and try to eat lunch, since I decided it was a good idea to oversleep my alarm clock. If you guys have not subscribed to the show, you can do that by searching the Purple Podcast app. Click subscribe, click the 5th star, leave a written review. You can also find us on any other podcast app that you choose to listen from, and always search at Podcast One. I hope that you guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
All month long on Pluto TV, stream the biggest Tyler Perry movies free. Watch your favorites like Medea's Witness Protection and Medea's Big Happy Family. Join Tyler Perry as he goes on a couples retreat with Sharon Leal in Why Did I Get Married? Or Idris Elba and Gabrielle Union in the Tyler Perry directed film Daddy's Little Girls. Plus, Pluto TV has hundreds of channels with thousands more movies and TV shows. Available on live and on demand. Download the free Pluto TV app on all your favorite devices and start streaming now. Pluto TV. Drop in, watch free.